I don't know if you heard, but I had heard about this a few days ago, about last week, but it's happened. So Subnautica 2, it's pretty much dead. Subnautica 2 is not coming out. There's a lot of drama apparently behind this whole thing. So, being kind of sad because, I was actually looking forward to Subnautica 2, and I wanted to beat Subnautica 1, but basically the lawsuit and everything that's going on between Subnautica, its old team, and the people who took over Subnautica and everything, it's pretty much dead. Also, you got an ad coming, chat. You got an ad coming. I'm sorry. Hold on, chat. While the ad's running, I am going to be right back really quick. Don't go anywhere. I was literally just thinking about on making sure I wasn't muted, and then I heard a strange sound, and that made my entire thought process of making sure I don't be muted completely out the window. As I was saying, yes, I agree that AI needs to be handled by smaller groups and not individuals who would entire companies who want to steal people's content so that they can save a few bucks. Like, it's crazy to me. It's crazy. It's crazy that these companies are spending billions, billions and billions and billions of dollars in order to save millions. So they're spending tons and tons of money to try and save millions in the future when they're only going to end up down a dead end road. Kind of like how Microsoft is apparently said that Windows 11 is 30% of Windows 11's software was written by AI. Could you tell the difference, chat? Could you tell the difference? Not me. I couldn't tell the difference that Windows 11 is absolute dog water. I wonder why that is. But anyways, yeah, that's why I don't want to upgrade to Windows 11. Upgrade to Windows 11. That's why I've been holding off on it. I've been kind of trying to get some extra time so I could learn how to do Linux. I know Linux is a little bit of like a problem because then I have to constantly monitor my own computer. But I think I would rather that than try to eat my desk because out of rage because I literally can't get Windows 11 to do what I want it to do. Yeah, it's not hard. It's just that you have to know which Linux you want to go down.
Video games these days, but one of the biggest problems that's been plaguing the industry for decades is the oldest one in the book, that one being greed. It's no
Greed.
surprise that the games industry is being held hostage by people who frankly couldn't care less about the well being of their own employees for the most part. One of these companies that are quickly making a name for themselves as becoming actual real life supervillains is Krafton or Krafton, however you say it. I really don't care. But they're a South Korean game publisher that owns quite a few franchises already. Stuff like Player Unknown Battlegrounds, the Callisto Protocol, and of course the subjects of this video, Subnautica, as well as Last Epoch. Subnautica.
Now, I got a quick question. Was this originally owned by that company or was it bought out and then made turned into garbage? Just like all these other companies keep doing. Just like with Kerbal Space Program 2 and everything. All these like indie games that are really amazing and really awesome and had awesome devs and then get sold out to a big company and then turned into water. My kind of water. I'm stuck with Windows 11. I would look up a way to get rid of the bloatware on your Windows 11. Then, some people swear by CCleaner, but I would look into it.
Is a survival game where
Mint
you delve
cinnamon.
into the ocean below to face its terrors. The game freaks me out, honestly, but that's mostly because I do not like deep water. Just looking at the gameplay of this game kind of freaks me out, I'm not gonna lie. And the other game, like I said, is Last Epoch. Think of this game, in case you don't know what it is, as a Diablo or Path of Exile like game. A loot based action RPG that had humble
I think I've seen
beginnings,
this
but
game.
now everything has gone upside down. Let me
Of
catch you up
course.
quickly before I get you into the newer things. Long story short, Subnautica's founder sold the company to Krafton for hundreds of millions of dollars.
As I said, I don't blame indie devs. I really don't. I do not. Listen, I don't blame indie devs for making certain things and then selling it when a big company comes around saying, "Oh, I will give you millions of dollars for that IP." Millions. Because they think they're going to make even more money. Yeah. So, I don't again, I do not like uh what's the word? I do not um blame them. It happened with Skype years ago. Before Discord, Skype used to be the big IM until it got sold off to Windows. They made a ton of money. And I, again, don't blame them because they could retire happily from the money that Windows gave them. Windows basically lost a ton of money in order to get Skype. A ton of money because a few years later, Discord took over. And then it happens again and again, like with Reanimal and the other game series, the Little Nightmares. It happens again and again and again and again, and these big companies buying out these products and thinking that they're gonna make tons of money. And they kind of do, but they ruin the IP while doing so, or ruin the software. Or a lot of times they'll lose out money or don't gain that much money, but they gain enough to make them warrant to do it. And I hate it. It ruins things. It ruins everything. And again, I don't blame the small time creators who are doing it because that's a lot of money. $22 million is a lot of money.
This was seen as a big win, because the creators would then get massive paychecks for all their lives' works, as well as the developers who worked on those games as well. However, Krafton then swindled the creators and the developers and claimed that the game was taking too long and that these creators specifically, who are these guys by the way, firstly we have Charlie Cleveland, as you can see here, as well as Max McGuire, which is this guy is on screen here too, and Ted Gill, which is this dude here. So these three guys were the founders and creators of Subnautica. Anyways, Krafton decided to nefariously move behind their backs and then fire these guys from their own studio because they apparently broke their contracts and didn't deliver what they promised. But the real reason why Krafton did this was because they wanted to own Subnautica while also not having to pay these developers their millions of dollars in bonuses after selling the company. They just wanted to take over Subnautica and its development studio Unknown Worlds without having to really honor their side of the agreement, and it's really scummy. It was shady, and obviously since then these three guys have banded together to sue Krafton because what they did was unlawful allegedly, and now it's a massive mess. Also, if you want more content, consider subscribing and all of that, thank you, but now there's been some new updates, starting with this story here from Kotaku. It turns out the creators of Subnautica have discovered that not only has Krafton lied, but they were actually using AI like ChatGPT.
That's bad. That's bad for that company. That is insane. Dude, bruh, imagine turning the fucking chat GDP to try to see how they could screw people over so they couldn't get their money. Oh, my God. And just imagine how pathetic you have to be. Pathetic. You can't even think about your own way to get out yourself. How's that going for you, by the way? Seeing as you're losing that lawsuit, how's that going for you, by the way?
To figure out how to avoid paying these guys their money, and I'm not kidding. The actual bonus meant to be split between these three founders, by the way, was an eye-watering $250 million bonus, which was promised to these
That's a lot of money.
Guys when Krafton bought Unknown Worlds and the Subnautica
couldn't even get an actual lawyer, and now look what's happening.
IP. At one
This is why humans are dumber than you. Some of you humans are dumber than fucking bricks. I'm telling you. Let me go the shortest, quickest route in order to see what get the biggest money in return. I don't need a lawyer. I don't need to get a bunch of lawyers in order to figure out how I can screw these people over out of $200 million, $250 million. I'll just ask ChatGDP. ChatGDP's free. You gotta be kidding me. By the way, thank you, Azuri the Protosh Fox. Thank you. Welcome on in. We are just talking about Subnautica 2. Ow, Carmi. Ow. Ow. Thank you for the follow. Welcome on in. I hope you're enjoying your stay also. Fox. Carmi? No, yay, Carmi! Go dig a hole. Is there any reason for that, by the way? Thank you for the subscription, love. Cookie. I eat the cookie. Thank you for the pie. It's not Thanksgiving anymore, though. Also, you just wanna go dig holes with MalO, don't you, silly Carmi? But, right, so I don't get it. I don't get how you get to be the head of, like, a big company that spends millions of dollars and then be like, should I spend a few million on several lawyers to figure out how to get out of paying $250 million? Or should I go with ChatGDP and it's free? Dude, does it not? Does the concept not like? Does it does do you people not like understand the consequence action thing? Do you not understand like your actions have consequences? Like, yes, if I go with the free one, more than likely it's going to be the worst concept. You might as well have just found some hillbilly who hasn't had internet in the last 20 years in the middle of West Virginia or something and asked him how to screw this guy over, because I guarantee you it would have given you a better answer. Identify as a meat popsicle. You have a meat, all right. My bones are wet? I mean, I am looking into Subnautica, at least. Oh, we're talking about Subnautica 2. Apparently, Subnautica 2 is dead. It is 100% dead, thanks to the company that they sold the game series to. Yep. Ruined by AI. Well, sort of. They were just saying that the creators, or not the creators, the company that had Subnautica 2, they basically asked ChatGDP how to get out of paying $250 million to their co-founders, to the people that got this game, that made this game. They No. This isn't made by AI. No. This whole thing was alleged that they tried to figure out how to steal and embezzle money that they were legally meant to uphold for their end of the bargain, and get out of paying it so that they could release the game anyway without having to pay the people who made this game. Basically, they tried to cheat the founders out of their money. And they did it trying to use ChatGDP instead of actually hiring lawyers, real lawyers, to look for legal loopholes. They asked an AI, which is absolutely insane. It's that. Do not ask an AI for law anything. Do not, because the laws are so subtle and so finicky that no AI is going to be able to comprehend the amount of information in these laws at all. It's insane. All the alarms go off. All of the alarms.
At some point during this legal proceeding, the Subnautica founders published this, which reads, Crafton terminated the founders and seized control of unknown worlds in order to avoid the earnout, reads the group's latest filing. Smoking gun documents show that Crafton was looking for ways to cancel the earnout, and that its secret Project X was designed to either make a deal on the earnout or execute a takeover. When the founders would not agree to Crafton's demands related to the earnout, Crafton decided a takeover would be the easier route. What's crazier is that somehow the Subnautica founders got actual receipts of the CEO of Crafton, whose name is Kim Chang-han, and the head of global operations, whose name is Richard Yoon, speaking with each other, I guess through email or something. Like, I have no idea how they got this in the first place, so don't even ask me.
How the
But
hell?
they somehow found it and then posted this in their legal document, that these transcripts of what the CEO of Crafton and the head of global operations said about cutting out the Subnautica founders to keep their money before, firing them and all of that. Here's what it says. So it starts with the head of global ops saying this: I had a phone call a little while ago. This time they're asking for $75 million for themselves and $40 million for the team members. They say they won't do it unless we negotiate the packages of the teams together. The bucket for the team members we are thinking of at present is $10 million. It might be easier to just take over. And the CEO then says, set a date and send a letter if you need to send it in advance.
How the hell did they get that information? That's crazy. Did they hack into their computer or something? What the hell?
So this bombshell was used in court against the Krafton higher-ups, which irrefutably confirms that they deliberately did work behind the scenes to ruin the Subnautica founders and the development team's pay bonuses to keep that money for themselves. Like, that cannot be that is 100% confirmed now, dude. And at one point, the new filings also claim that Krafton believed that they overpaid for Unknown Worlds and, Subnautica, and instead used ChatGPT, an AI bot, obviously, to then figure out ways to circumvent the payouts to just keep it for themselves. As it says here in another transcript from Krafton, it seems to be highly likely that the earnout will still be paid if the sales goal is achieved regardless of the dismissal with cause, the new filing reads. Kim turned to artificial intelligence to help him brainstorm ways to avoid paying the earnout. ChatGPT likewise advised that it would be difficult to cancel the earnout. The co-founders claim
You don't say. You don't say. You don't say. Yeah. If it's all in writing and it's all on paper and it's all like legally documented, yeah. That, you know what that means? You have to turn to a goddamn lawyer or a bunch of lawyers. What? Ah. The ignorance is baffling. Do people, it's crazy that people don't understand what AI is. And we went on that 15-minute rant about AI and understanding what AI is. What the modern day chat GDP AI is. We went on a 15-minute tirade about that. Stop thinking that AI is like the computer from Star Trek. It does not have the capabilities of understanding subtle nuances. It cannot be able to comprehend such things. Just pay them for their work. That's what that's the real answer here, is pay them for their work. It just baffles me that they're so stupid that they didn't go to a lawyer first. That's what gets me the most. I've heard of companies doing this a lot, where they don't want to pay their employees what they said they would pay them, da 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 da. I've heard that song and dance for a long time. But the idea that they wouldn't do it because they're like, yes, we'll just get ChatGPT to figure it out for us. It's like that meme where everybody slaps their forehead. That's that. That's the dumbest thing. Insulted to be compared to the EICs? What's the EICs? Also, Carmi, come here, you silly. Also, thank you again, Carmi, for the subscription.
Used to produce the ChatGPT conversations, and when pressed, confirmed that they no longer exist. That is not good, but also as seen here. Krafton then
hold on, wait, what? Advised that it would be difficult to earn it. The co-founders claim Krafton refused to produce the chat GDP conversation, and when pressed, confirmed that they no longer exist.
They no longer exist. That is not.
That means that it was real. That means that they confessed to doing it. Oh my god, they're dumber than bricks. Oh my god. That is like Cop 101. That's what the police officers want you to do, is accidentally confess to the crime. It's like, sir, do you have the evidence that basically says that you were drinking while driving? No, officer, I don't have no evidence. I threw it out already. You just confessed to having done the crime. Hey, Foundation, can I ask you a quick question? Hey, anybody from the 05 Council, why are you trying to save these people? Is this the people you're trying to save? Is this humanity? Is this the humanity you're trying to save? Hey, Jack, we're just watching, apparently we're watching a video on Subnautica 2. And we're watching how basically this company, what happened to the co-founders. What happened to the co-founders? Yeah, I agree. What happened to the co-founders and how the company that bought out Subnautica basically tried to screw the co-founders out of the money that they promised them, and how they tried to use Chat GDP to get out of paying them. Chat GDP rots your brain. It really does. That's why I don't use it. I very rarely use it. I don't like using it because it's always wrong. You know what? You can't say that, MalO. What, the whole like, hey, I'm asking O5 Council why they're still trying to save humanity. That's wrong of me. Who are you trying to save? Please tell me it's not these people. Just from talking medical, it's because they're the ones funding us. Without them, we would be broke. Yeah, so rich. Sunken cost fallacy. That's just AI in a nutshell.
Good, but also as seen here, Crafton then claims that the founders also destroyed their own evidence of also using ChatGPT. Therefore, they cannot be legally liable for also using the same AI systems to help their case either. Yet be legally liable.
Crafton, this. Oh my god. Crafton, no, this claim is simply a distraction from their own efforts to destroy evidence, such as Charlie's reminder to the other key employees, Maxon, to delete anything incriminating from their own Chat GDP accounts. So basically, you're just saying you're doing the Spider-Man pointing meme. That's what you guys are doing. So, can I ask you a quick question, Crafton? What's the evidence? What was on that evidence that could have stated that you guys were in the right? You don't explain it. It's like well, it's like high school like playground bullshit. He said, she said, point the finger at that other person. Oh no, I got it, Dr. Singer. I figured. Should I have the house for myself tomorrow night? By the way, MalO, yay! We could probably play a few games together, like Pokemon Fusion.
Liable for also using the same AI systems to help their case either. Yeah, I know, this is a mess, guys. But according to those documents, as you can see in this really big paragraph, which I will paraphrase, Crafton was throwing anything they could think of in order to win this lawsuit. And they even accused the founders of Unknown Worlds that they apparently stole key data before leaving the company, and that the co-founders, however, clapped back, saying that Crafton was aware of anything they did and they know that no info was taken at all, and they're just basically accusing them because they're desperate. They also even accused Crafton of deliberately sabotaging the release of Subnautica 2 on purpose without telling even the founders of the game itself, which they did do. They were instead hoping to pull the rug from underneath them without really warning, in hopes of ruining the positive momentum of the game that it had, in order to just really delay Subnautica on purpose so that it would miss its 2025 release date that it was originally planned for, just so that they could justify firing these guys, keeping all that money, and then releasing the game in 2026 mere months later as a game meant for purchase, which would then allow Crafton to keep everything and benefit from all the sales as well, which is, yeah, that's real. But Subnautica's founders also pushed back and then said this: Crafton's own internal reports captured the damage. Employees cited a significant lack of trust in Crafton, frustration that support for Subnautica 2 had been pulled in the weeks before launch, and fear that anyone who pushed back could be fired, the filing reads. The open, transparent culture that defined Unknown Worlds and fueled its open development success gave way to silence and unease. Crafton claimed the reason why they went down this route was because they refused to allow a similar situation to happen with another game they owned called Kerbal Space Program 2. Basically,
let's not go down that route.
Crafton knew if they fumbled Subnautica like they did with Kerbal in the past, the damage would be irreversible. So Crafton, while
And yet you fumbled, and you fumbled hard.
unwilling to pay the founders, would still at least pay the developers to improve the morale and trust, but honestly, they're probably only doing that to save face, if I'm being real. But
Yep.
Crafton didn't really stop there. They said a lot more, as it reads here. We were forced to make a change when the former leaders showed little interest in the development of Subnautica 2, which has always been our top priority, it said in a statement to Kotaku. Now, this trial comes down to plaintiffs asking to be restored to jobs they were not doing, said they had no interest in doing, and had previously declined requests that they come back and do those jobs. There's more. Crafton said,
Okay. Again, I must ask. If they weren't doing their jobs, where's your evidence? Show evidence of your people that you're working for you aren't doing their job. If you don't have evidence, it's just their word versus yours. And guess what? The co-founders have evidence showing that you had lied and basically you showed evidence that you were going to try to pull the rug out from underneath them. Like it's you got nothing. You got nothing. You're just throwing mud around.
but I'll paraphrase it because it's a really big word salad. But basically, Crafton claims the reason why they did all of this in the first place was because they apparently care about you guys.
You don't know? Oh god, Kerbal Space Program 2 was another game that apparently I didn't know it was this company. But Kerbal Space Program was supposed to be another game that got bought out by Crafton that was going to make a second game, and they screwed over the game devs there, and now that game is dead. It was a game about literally going to space with some really cool actual space mechanics.
The players, yeah. So they want to give you the best experience possible, and they believe that by delaying the game, that was their intended response. But frankly, and probably you guys too, I don't really buy that one bit.
Nah.
The fact that they got ousted by their own people, again, somehow, because let's be real, how else would the Subnautica guys somehow have actual transcripts of private conversations between the people at the top of the company? We're talking about the literal CEO and the head of global operations, guys. That doesn't just leak randomly, right?
Yeah, that don't.
It's pretty obvious that Crafton has a leak in their roof there, and they are just unwilling to see it, or they just don't know. Instead, they're kind of just getting bamboozled by their own people here, and honestly, yeah, it kind of makes sense to me why. Because you can't be doing these things and thinking that it's okay. You bought up a whole company, you promised things in contracts, and then you asked your AI buddies of all things to help you out, and then swindle the release to self-sabotage it on purpose to keep your hundreds of millions of dollars. There's no way this doesn't come across as anything but shady and gross. There's no two ways about it, really. But Crafton clearly wants to remove the human element before long anyways. And I mean, they kind of proved that themselves just in October this year. Look at this from GameIndustry.biz. Crafton has already reorganized the company to become AI first above all else. Here's exactly what Crafton said about it. Crafton is prioritizing AI as a central and primary means of problem solving and fostering change in individuals and organizations.
Fuck you. How's that gonna go? How's that going for you? How good is that going for you? How's that sunk cost fallacy going for you right now?
Increase.
What game? Kerbal Space. It was Kerbal Space Program 2.
Company-wide productivity and accelerating mid to long-term corporate value growth. They are also investing $69 million into a new cluster of GPUs to help with future planning the company. And for what?
You are a part of the problem. We were just talking about it earlier. How companies are ruining RAM. Now they're ruining GPUs.
they call sophisticated reasoning. They're also going to spend another $20.8 million to retrain their current workforce to use these AI tools in the future. So this is all being done because Crafton essentially wants to slim itself down like an Instagram model getting ready to go to Dubai so they can make more money pretty much. Why pay people more, or I guess hire more developers, when you can just steal the money promised to other founders and then use that same money to now turn your workforce into digital lemmings that will develop, rationalize, and find new ways to screw over other people, I guess. And if your developers are AI, they don't need you don't have to pay them overtime. They don't need to rest. They can work 20.
Hey, SCP Foundation. Hey, you're always looking for D-class personnel. I feel like all you have to do is look at like tech CEOs in modern days, like all these companies who are trying to make all this AI nonsense. I'm sure that all these companies who think that AI is the real answer and trying to destroy humanity and jobs and everything, I'm almost certain these people will not be missed. The D class thing, that research team could use some more hirees.
24/7 every single day, man. It's pretty bleak, I'm going to be honest. But I don't know, man. This all just kind of comes across as just really gross to me. But let's
Yeah,
also pivot for a
it's
second,
100%
though, 'cause
gross.
this is not just about Subnautica. Let's talk about another game. This time it's Last Epoch. So like I said at the beginning of the video, Epoch is like a Diablo sort of game, all right? You know the kind. Spam your attacks, you blow up the hordes, you put cool stuff on your guys, that sort of game. Anyway, the thing about Last Epoch was that it was originally kickstarted a while back in 2018. Here's that Kickstarter so you can see it, by the way. It's a game pitched as an action RPG with endless replayability. Wow, very nice. Except this was before Crafton bought up the studio and IP like they did with Subnautica. You see, Last Epoch was developed by 11th Hour Games, and prior to all of this, the game was beloved by its fans because it was exactly what 11th Hour envisioned: a fun, endlessly replayable action RPG meant to satisfy fans of Diablo or Path of Exile. Surely none of this could go wrong, right? Well, in July 2025, Crafton would come in and actually just buy up everything. They now own 100% of the shares too. They bought it all for $96 million, and now 11th Hour and Last Epoch were completely and totally owned by Crafton. Of course, like usual, Crafton ensured the fans nothing would change in the future. Last Epoch would stay as it always was because it was working clearly. Well then, what's the problem? Well, the thing is that when Last Epoch was originally conceived and kickstarted by fans, by the way, the developers promised that there would never be any paid DLC that would be considered pay to win in a sense. Sure, yes, the game has cosmetics that's been there since day one, like pretty much any other game with live service elements, but as long as you bought Last Epoch, you would have the complete experience and be on a leveled playing field with anyone else in the game, no matter what. Thankfully, despite Crafton buying them, their new expansion for this game, which is called Oribus, will also be free to all players who still bought the game. However, there has now been a big change. You see, Last Epoch won't be charging for the expansion, but they will be charging for what is being called now Paradox classes. As PC Gamer reported here, basically, if new classes are getting added to Last Epoch like they're doing right now, these will now cost players additional money to use those classes. And those who don't pay extra will not have access to these new classes with their power sets and unique abilities. Meaning now that a game that promised itself to be on a leveled playing field with a single purchase, apparently, was now no longer going to keep that promise. Instead, now, sure, you can play the expansion,
This company
but
sucks.
other
I hope it
players
goes
will
under.
be better than you if they pay extra for these Paradox classes. Of course, 11th Hour tried to dissuade this narrative, saying that the new classes wouldn't necessarily be stronger than what's already been provided. But since they're owned by Crafton now, this is, well, heavily debatable, because if the classes were not better than what's already available, there would be no need to sell them separately. The only logical reason is to showcase how powerful these new classes are and then rope people in so they have, the fear of missing out, and then they, of course, buy into it. The thing about Last Epoch is that the game currently, as of this video anyways, doesn't have any PvP modes. For now, it's PvE only. However, players are still review bombing the game either way. Because
Good.
this just sounds
Deserved.
like Diablo 4's problems all over again, since when that game had its first expansion, the new class that they added there was also ridiculously overpowered, and was of course only available if you bought the expansion, of course. But
Yeah,
in
of
Last
course.
Epoch's case, the justification for why this new class is paid and not included for free is, according to the devs, this new class, which isn't named yet, works on systems, according to them, that are new to Last Epoch and functions in no way similar to anything else available right now in the game. But like I said, they didn't give any details on what exactly any of that even means.
Yeah,
They
I was gonna
also
say
didn't
that
even include
that just sounds like a bunch of lawyers speak for absolutely nothing.
a price point for this Paradox class either. 'Cause let's be real, probably once they announce the price for it, people will get even more mad. But it's more so a problem because, well, they lied to their players. They promised nothing would ever be pay gated besides cosmetics, and yet here they are placing a whole new class behind a paywall. It's about the principle more than anything else here. It makes total sense why people are really upset. And it doesn't surprise me that this shift to paywalling content in a game that said it would never do that coincidentally did so when Krafton of all things came in and then bought them up for almost $100 million. Proving yet again that this decision was very likely not 11th Hour's choice, but something pushed onto them by their new leadership. The same leadership that, like I showed you already, is also trying to ruin Subnautica's founders' pay bonuses and turn their entire company into an AI first, whatever, I guess. I don't even know anymore, dude. But none of that sounds good. But this is crafted for you. Sure, right now, Last Epoch is PvE only, but if they ever do add PvP in the future, this controversial change of now paying for classes will really only get worse. If you want an example of how bad this can go, look at how poorly the reception was when Blizzard tried to make people pay extra for new characters in Overwatch. It almost made that game shut down because it was so anti-consumer. And if Crafton
It's a shock that that game even is still around. I don't even understand how people can play it.
Push this onto players so quickly after acquiring Last Epoch, I mean, what's next? Surely
Oh yeah, that's right. Teardown. Yes, that's right. I remember Teardown. Fucked it completely over.
they'll make more items paid for only in the future. Who knows? Maybe you'll have
It's a
faster mounts
dad
maybe
game.
that'll cost more money, or they'll sell experience boosters and more too. Anything to really nickel and dime and get their money back on their purchase. They'll probably
this
even
one?
ask ChatGPT what they can
Yeah,
get
it
away
does
with
look like a
too.
dad
That
game.
really wouldn't be surprising to me either. As seen here, 11th Hour's developers assured players that their design philosophy hasn't changed one bit, which is likely true. But what has changed is that Crafton now owns you, and they can change how the monetization works because, again, they have 100% of the shares now. They can do really anything they want with this game, and with Last Epoch gearing up to release on PlayStation 5 in the future, I can really only imagine what further predatory practices Crafton will cook up in the meantime. Despite all of this, fans, like I said, are review bombing the game on Steam. It's dropped from very positive to now mixed in a short time since this Paradox
Might even
nonsense
get
was
more.
first announced. And I did really want to bring up the story here because honestly, I just don't see enough people talking about it right now, and this is really bad, guys. It really can't be normalized. These companies are objectively cannibalizing their own franchise.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have enough time to realize that they're being literally scammed.
In the name of short-term profits and greed.
And that again, well, that just leads right back to the, problem with the human society right now. The way society is, it leads all right back to it, doesn't it?
And it's kind of crazy how fast things can change, considering if you go to Last Epoch's Kickstarter page, which launched in 2018, like I said, they have this part where they flat out lied to their own consumer base. Let me read it for you. The only form of real money microtransactions Last Epoch will ever have are cosmetic. Our currency for such is even named cosmetic points to emphasize this point. We will continually add in new exciting armor skins, skill effects, companion pets,
They
and
all
whatever
say all
else we
roads
dream
lead
up
to
that
Rome,
can
and
make
we
your
all know
character
what became
visually
of
more
Rome.
awesome and unique. No experience speed items, stat boost items, character boosts, or any other source.
As they say, all empires fall eventually.
Of player power will be purchasable with real money, We do not believe in pay-to-win models. And now that statement is a lie.
It's full
and
of
objectively
illegals.
is false advertising giving what we have now. It sucks to see, but this is kind of what big companies
That's
always
coming
do.
from
And
Jack,
if you
who is
ask me,
also
usually when
Italian.
games add things like this that break player trust, it's only because they want to capitalize on the whales within these games. Whales, by the way,
Yeah,
are the people that
whales.
pay the most for cosmetics and stuff. But anyways, last Epoch's numbers on Steam, by the
That's
way,
what they're always looking for. They're always looking for whales. They don't want somebody, some like 5-year-old who's gonna spend $5 and never spend anything more again. They want whales. They want the people who are gonna spend thousands on their game. That's all this ever is about. It's all about the addictions. It's about people spending their entire life savings on their funny little games so that they can get tons of money.
not really good currently.
Oh yeah, I agree. I'm farmed.
Either they're somewhere in the low thousands, so likely Crafton is trying to milk as
Oh,
much
your
cash as
internet
they
might be
possibly
not
can
doing
from
so
those
good,
whales of the
Carmi.
game to now make up the difference. But this
Maybe it's just Twitch, because I bet I've got my Twitch open right now, and it's actually running perfectly fine.
really will only make player loyalty worse in the long run for short gains, but I don't know if Crafton really cares either way. They just want their money. That's pretty much it. It's just so bleak, dude.
I'm so sick and tired of just all these companies and people worried about money all the time. Just money, 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 and money. It's so fucking tiring and boring and pathetic. I'm just so sick of it, man.
way back to the beginning, as you can see, like usual greed is just
Then it's
destroying
definitely
everything.
Twitch.
If it isn't, paid power classes, it's CEOs using AI to figure out how to not pay creators for their works. None of this is okay. Crafton is definitely speed running themselves into becoming an actual supervillain company in record time. And if they're willing to destroy their goodwill for profits, how can I believe that they have the player's best interests in mind when they so clearly do not?
Yep.
If you buy Subnautica now, you're just going to be lining Crafton's pockets, and it seems with last Epoch, the old truth just keeps coming true, which is that these companies do not care about you and only see you as walking flesh wallets. I guess we'll see what happens in the future.
It's not my fault.
Exciting, at least, that Subnautica's developers are pushing back the way that they have already, and I do hope that Crafton loses their lawsuit and just ends up owning those founders and the developers even more money, because this can't be normalized. But thank you for watching. Subscribe, let me know what you think as always too, and take care.
Didn't they basically they didn't explain if they won or not. That's the thing. I thought maybe they would explain if they won or lost. I guess I don't know. Thumbs that up. But literally 0 days without nonsense from the gaming industry. And yeah, executives never really face real consequences. When the extras. Okay. But it seems like the Crafton has nothing. They don't have anything. They don't have a leg to stand on. Meanwhile, the co-founders have everything. They have every bit of evidence. And if Crafton wins, let's go say it. They should be held accountable in one way or another. It's all about the shareholders. It's true. It's 100% about shareholders. Oh yeah, Pokemon lost the PAL world big time. And then they found out that Pokemon was basically going to steal PAL World's stuff. Basically, Nintendo was banking on winning that lawsuit so that they could steal everything that PAL World built themselves on in the hopes of like making a better game. Yeah, it was Take-Two Interactive. So that's what I thought. I was like, wait. So Crafton is pointing a game from another company that they have no internal knowledge about as justification. Even that makes it even better that they're using another game from another company to try and justify themselves from a gaming company known as like Take-Two, which is one of the worst companies ever. Like Take-Two is one of the worst ever. They will destroy everything. Anything they touch, they destroy. That's why that's the same. I feel the same way. I said I don't blame indie developers for taking those deals, but I'm going to be brutally honest. I don't want them to. I do not want Pal World to sell theirs to a big company. I don't want to see any of these indie companies do that cuz I understand you're going to make big money that you could probably retire on, but you're selling your child to scam artists. That's all they are. They're scam artists. So that they pretend that they're businessmen, that they have some prestige. They pretend like they are something above that, but all they are at the end of the day is trying to scam you out of your money. They are a snake oil salesman. Do not let them fool you. Wolf in sheep's clothing. Evil and awful. Also, the many lies of Opera GX. Bro, at this point, none of the browsers are any good. Oh, Firefox sucks. Google Chrome sucks. Opera sucks. Opera GX sucks. They all suck anymore. They all lie. They're all horrible. None of them are good. Okay? Let's just at this point just, accept that bullet. Every single one of these browsers is a liar. They are doing something fundamentally wrong. Let's just say that. So there are no good options. I hope Pal World not only wins that lawsuit, but basically comes back at Nintendo and sues them and wins. Because at this point, I'm sick and tired of these companies that don't get any repercussions for their actions for pushing people around. Like they don't get anything. Like what was it? City was saying that if somebody lies and says somebody R words another person, say your ex-girlfriend claims that you R worded her, if it's found out that you're innocent, nothing happens to her. And you get out of that situation, but there's still the chance that does fly. That sticks, and then your life is ruined. Meanwhile, if she loses the case, nothing happens to her. What's that? A little bit of flack for possibly from family members or something, or friends for doing that. She gets to walk away. City said that, and I agree, that if you're going to do something like that and it's found that you're being maliciously if you're being malicious and this is a malicious act, you should be facing charges of almost the same repertoire. You should be fined or even thrown into jail for doing something like that, for trying to ruin somebody else's life. Because, and it goes for this as well. It goes for this sort of thing as well. If you're trying to sue another company just to bully them out of your jurisdiction, and they have to do so many things, have to jump through hoops and whatnot in order to keep themselves afloat, and they are able to come out on top. Meanwhile, the other company that did all that, they don't get no repercussions for their actions. Nothing happens to them. They just go, okay, well, we lost. Oh well. Nah, you should be paying the piper. Your company should not only lose, but pay the other company for compensation. And not only that, for slander. You should be paying millions. That would instantly keep bigger companies like from doing anything like that unless they have a chance to win the case. Yes, it falls under slander, and yet nothing happens. Nothing happens unless you actually go out and do your own lawsuit. You have to literally go out and go, okay, this person slandered me. I want to sue them. And then you have to go through yet another court. Then you have to get lawyers again. You got to get all your evidence put back together. And then you got to do the whole thing again. That could take years. Nah. Nah. That's not fair. The system is absolutely broken, and on purpose. Rather they die heroes than become the villains in schemes. This is so true. I'm with you, Unfarmed. I don't want to participate in anything like that. Never. Not to mention that people who make false accusations make it less likely for people to trust actual victims. Exactly. Exactly. I agree. It should be illegal to press charges on someone, false charges on someone. If you're found to be putting false charges on someone, you should lose and lose hard. It shouldn't be just like, oh yeah, no, you're free to go. Mm-mm. I find that you should get hit by repercussions for your actions. Also, finally, it's Friday? Wasn't it already Friday? No, it still is Friday. But yeah, yes. The system is borked like that. Hold on.
new arrival has joined the facility.